In today's video, we are going to get caught up on, I don't know if you want to call it the trial of the century or the WTF, am I watching of the century? Whatever you want to call it, we're going to be getting caught up on the trial of the 55-year-old hip-hop Mr. Sean Combs P Diddy. So buckle up, Sofa Squad, because this one's going to be rough.
Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad, sipping from the cup and hey.
Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. Whoosh, there's the sofa. Whoosh, you probably can't see it though. Whoosh. And this is Paul, and I'm imagining you can see me right now. Hello, everybody. My name is Paul. If you're new to the channel, if you're not, my name is still Paul. Okay. I did a couple of videos on the P Diddy thing, like when it popped off like a minute ago, right? And then I haven't made anything else about it. We've been doing Lori Daybell, we've been doing the mushroom case, we've been doing all the things, right? So now I've started to pay attention to a little bit of the background. So I want to kind of talk about some of the beginning parts of it, especially Cassie Ventura's testimony, some of the highlights of that, and get us up to where we're at, because it's been an explosive, jaw-dropping trial. Okay, so the stuff that's coming out is next level. Okay, so go ahead and brace yourself for all that, number one. Now, before we get started, keep in mind this whole case centers around like extreme sexual misconduct. Okay, so I'm going to put up on the screen here a little screenshot. This is the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Number one, if that's too much for you or whatever, this video is not for you. But number two, if you or a loved one is in need of something like this, here are some resources for it. Be sure to check them out. Now, that being said, like I said, buckle up your seatbelt for this case, for this trial, for this video. Now, very quickly, for those who might not know or not understand, like, say, the gravity of who Sean is, let's just talk about a little history of him, okay? So, P Diddy, Sean Combs, Puffy, Puff Daddy, all the little names he goes by, right? When I was coming up, he was the rap game, right? He was one of those Biggie, Kim, like that whole group. He was the it guy, okay? Now, he's done way more than just be a rapper over the years. He's amassed music awards. He has menswear, films, you name it, his name's in it. Okay, if it's entertainment filled, Sean is in it. He is either there, behind the scenes, whatever. His hands are all across that. Now, the crimes dates way back. Now, his actual emergence into the true crime streets, like what we're watching though, didn't really happen until recently, and honestly, I don't know how. Okay, like, so back in November 2023 is what I'm referencing. This is when his ex-girlfriend, an American singer, dancer, actress, model, Cassie Ventura, filed a jaw-dropping, sofa-popping lawsuit, okay? And in this 35-page filing, she maintains that Combs, and I'm going to quote her, "ard and sex trafficked her over the course of an abusive 10 years, end quote. Now, she would get like $20 million out of this. People magazine indicated, start quote, "this lawsuit was resolved to their mutual satisfaction a day later." Okay. However, more people came forward with accusations of abuse, sex trafficking, and gang R, end quote. Now, in March 2024, quote, his properties were raided by the feds, okay? This is part of an ongoing investigation. A few months later, September 2024, Diddy was arrested and charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and transporting to engage in prostitution. So that's like a brief overview right there, okay, of like what's going on, how we arrived at this and whatnot. So the jurors, who is sitting there, like who are gonna be the people that decide his fate, right? So the jury selection took 3 days, and it's comprised of 12 jurors and 6 alternates. Now, ABC reported on the demographics of the jury, saying that they range in age from 30 to 74. There's an average age of 52. 8 of the jurors are men, and 4 of them are women. Now, one of the big things that's going on, I'll make a separate video about this, is how P Diddy interacts in the courtroom. He's, you know, the weird stuff with Stephanie Sue, you know, we got to protect her, and all the weird things that he's doing. So who is actually showing up in support of him, right? So we've got his mother, Janice, his children, several friends, obviously people he works with and whatnot. Now, we'll hear that Combs will like occasionally turn around to them. He'll do like, you know, a little this kind of thing or give looks and stuff like that. And one video that Stephanie Sue did, like in the beginning part of it, she said that, you know, he would come in and he would kind of, and the way she described it, it's not an exact quote by her, but it was almost like she said, it wasn't like he was turning around and looking at the media side. She's like, it was like one person individual at that point. It was like he was glancing at everyone, taking his turns, moving his, his eyes across everybody. Whereas when he would look at his own people, it was a little bit more maybe personal sounding, I guess. But one thing that she was saying is like, he felt like he was staring through your soul. And I thought that was so interesting. In our true crime world that we talk about, especially in one of the chats we just did, we talk about that when you feel like you're being a predator and prey, that kind of thing. And so when she said that, it just made me think of that. Of course, I don't know Sean. I wasn't there. I don't know what it's like to have the man stare me down. Let's keep going. Okay, so let's talk about a few highlights from the opening statement. Now, the assistant U.S. attorney, Emily Johnson, stated, and I'm going to quote her, "During this trial, you're going to hear about 20 years of the defendant's crimes, which include kidnapping, arson, drugs, sex, crimes, bribery, and obstruction," end quote. Prosecutors have accused him of leading a, quote, criminal enterprise that facilitated his drug-fueled sex sessions, referred to as freak-offs, which involved paid sex workers, end quote. So Combs' defense lawyer, Tenny Garagos, now her father represented Scott Peterson, currently representing the Menendez brothers. We're talking like big names here, right? Okay, they challenged this characterization, and during the opening arguments, she argued and began, quote, "The encounters were consensual and part of a swinger's lifestyle," end quote. Now, she also acknowledged his checkered past of history of domestic violence and drug use. This is one of those cases where you're going to have to acknowledge the bad to get the outcome that you're after, right? You can't really just sit here and be like, oh, we have to ignore all some of this stuff, right? This is one of those cases where you have to say, you are going to hear things about my client. You're not going to like him, but does that make him guilty for ABC, right? And that's kind of the tactics you're going to have to go with here. Clearly claiming that these are consensual type things was going to be the narrative, probably the only narrative that the defense could do. However, a lot of the things we also hear is kind of like, okay, but are these related to some of the charges? Because you have the racketeering, the this, to that, all the stuff, right? But anyways, let's keep going for now. And let's just jump into one of the, well, not really one of them, but the star witness, let's say. I would say one of them because also I feel like the other star witness is Jane Doe. I'm going to do a separate video on that. That's where I've just been like, okay, I need to catch back up with this because this is getting crazy. So the prosecution's star witness was Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Now, she dated Combs from around like 2007 to 2018. Now, Cassie was very pregnant when she took the stand. God bless her, right? I'm just like, oh my God, I can't imagine. Yeah, she detailed all the emotional, all the physical abuse that she endured during their relationship. And she even said that after their breakup in 2018, that he came back another time and AR'd her. Now, she indicated that she was, quote, coerced to participating in the drug-fueled sex sessions known as freak-offs. Now, of course, these were, orchestrated by Combs, end quote. Now, she also said that she would take part in the sex acts with male escorts in front of Combs, end quote. She also told the jurors, got across from whatever you want to say, that these could sometimes last for like days, y'all. Okay, we're not talking like a couple hour thing. We're talking about like a full blown just binge party, right? Now, these could be in various states and they were often filmed by Sean. She would sit here and say on the stand, they made me feel, quote, horrible, humiliated, and worthless, end quote. And she also testified that it would often take her days to recover. You could only imagine, right? And she would say on there, I felt trapped. I felt like I had to go along with things because of the things that he would say. He would often threaten to release these videos. And I would imagine that a lot of people in Hollywood were very afraid of those videos. My personal take is that there's just probably a lot of damning evidence out there about a lot of different people doing a lot of different things, and we'll just leave it at that. Now, she also would tell the court that she was basically just trying to survive, right? She told the court that, quote, whatever was going to make him not angry or threaten me, I was going to do, end quote. She said that, yeah, you know what? I would use these drugs to numb and dissociate during all these freak-offs. Hello, look at what I was doing, right? It's like an escape, I had to do something. Now, the prosecution portrayed Sean as, quote, controlling and abusive, end quote, and as someone who basically would exert power over every dynamic of her life, okay? And this included, again, quote, her appearance, career, where she lived, which escorts participated in the freak-offs, and what acts would occur during the drug-fueled sex sessions. Now, he had lots of control over her. Remember, he's doing contracts, he's doing that, he's doing that, he's going to try and curtail a career, but what I've think so far what I've seen is it's almost like, and I'll just use this as an example. You have somebody A over here with tons of power that has, record labels and you get movie deals and this and that and people, very important in Hollywood. You have person B who comes over here who either is trying to break into Hollywood or whatever. Well, this person's like, hey, you got the right stuff. You got the right stuff. I'm going to sign you and I'm going to mold you. Now, this could be normal for like, say, a studio or a record label to be like, we're going to sign you and do this, but there was like a lot of other stuff going on, right? You can just see how would you say it? The inequality of power and manipulation is clearly there. Now, she would also say that if she like made him mad, he would have his staff confiscate her things, like do crazy stuff, right? During a lot of these encounters, Combs, an escort, at his request, okay, would urinate on her. Like a lot of the stuff that I was hearing and just going across was like these acts of humiliation, not only like violence, but a humiliation at their root, like really kind of like breaking somebody's soul, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. As you can imagine, on the stand, Cassie would get very teary-eyed at times, right? She would be, having a moment or whatever. From what I hear from the courtroom, she sobbed when testifying about like how she had thought about doing, say, self-harm and whatnot. Having to go to rehab, all the years of trauma therapy after the relationship ended, all the things to kind of like hold on to life, if you will. Now, when cross-examination began, Sean's defense counsel was like, okay, we're going to go in for the credibility thing, right? The defense counsel would characterize her as, and I quote him, a willing participant at times, enthusiastic participant in the freak-offs. And it's basically like, no, you're not a victim. Like you were jumping head first into this kind of vibes. Now, they show saucy text messages, emails, all this kind of stuff when they were in a relationship. And yeah, a lot of them were pretty explicit, right? Now, Anna Betts of The Guardian cited 2 examples of these. Both are from Ventura to Sean. Now, one reads, I'm always ready to freak off, end quote. And the other one read, I love our freak offs when we both want it. Now, Ventura also replied, it was just words at that point to this, right? She's basically like, look, I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm just telling him what he needed. I didn't mean any of this stuff. Now, when the defense discussed like their drug use and all this kind of stuff, Cassie would reply, we both struggled with opiate addiction at various points and frequently used drugs such as like ecstasy and ketamine, end quote. Now, at this point in the testimony, it's said that from people in the court or whatever, that Combs would often stare at the witness. He'd whisper to his counsel. He passed them notes. He'd do all sorts of little things, right? Now, earlier during the direct examination of the witness, the jury was shown that the video you've probably all seen if you've been following this, the viral video of Sean's 2016 attack on Cassie at that hotel surveillance, right? He's in the towel and it's brutal, right? So it's bad, it's disturbing. You can see it, you can YouTube it. I don't want to put it here in the video for numerous reasons, right? But they see this, okay? And so this is going to be bam, we are seeing Sean doing something that is very bad against this woman. I mean, what are you going to do with that, right? It's very much like the storage unit footage and the Lori Daybell case that we were watching when the jurors finally see that. Now, here's the thing with stuff like this. We all are entitled to a defense, right? We get this, okay? We all want that or whatever. And oftentimes, though, when we see in the defense will go after victims or other people and whatnot in the cases and try and tear it apart. So with cases like this where you're seeing like some really just wow, like a woman getting beat by a man and the defense has to come in there and try and tear that apart, it's like yikes, okay? So it's very unsettling to see or whatever. Now, Sean's team is going to use Cassie as basically like a means of trying to establish a timeline around the surveillance video. And they would say that this is when the defendant was experiencing withdrawals from opiates. Now, here's the thing. It's like, okay, and so that's your excuse. There is no excuse for that kind of physical harm, right? But I digress. Let's keep going. Now, on Casey's 4th and final day on the witness stand, Sean's team kept trying to portray her as like this, quote, loving partner and willing participant in the freak-offs, more so than somebody that was like coerced into it, okay? So when her testimony concluded later that afternoon, her lawyer walked to the bank of microphones that were like outside like they always do or whatever, and read a statement from her. Now, I'm going to put it up here on the screen and we can listen to it real quick together.
This week has been been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from abuse and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget. I want to thank my family and my advocates for their unwavering support, and I'm grateful for all the kindness and encouragement that I have received. I'm glad to put this chapter of my life to rest. As I turn to focus on the conclusion of my pregnancy, I ask for privacy for me and for my growing family.
Now, before Cassie got up on the stand and was like dropping her bombshell testimony off, the court heard from two other witnesses, okay? First was Israel Flores. He was the hotel security guard on duty when that, massive assault occurred in the video or whatever. And he did testify that, and quote, Combs tried to silence him by offering him cash, and that Ventura had a purple eye and repeatedly asked to leave, end quote. Now, the defense offered challenges to his story and responded by saying, quote, those details were not in his original incident report, end quote. Now, also another person, Daniel Phillip, a 41-year-old guy escort who was called to the stand, okay? And he testified that he was like, yeah, you know what? I've been paid, quote, thousands of dollars multiple times between 2012 and 2014 to participate in the freak-offs. Now, he also stated that Combs directed the encounters and that he witnessed the defendant assault Cassie on 2 different occasions, which included one time when he saw Sean dragging her by the hair into a room, end quote. Now, he also told the jury that during this incident, he heard slapping, screams, and pleas of, I'm sorry. So there you go, right? So the other one that a lot of people have been asking me to talk about is the Jane Doe. When I'm recording this, they either wrap that up today or she's gonna finish tomorrow, whatever, but I'll make a video on that next because that's been like one of the big requested ones. So we'll do that one next. Okay, now that being said, I've kind of made my commentary throughout, but I'll just close it out with a couple of things. This has been one of those things where you watch and hear the different commentary on this. And a lot of the things are like, I think he's gonna get, he's gonna get off these charges. This is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. Other ones are like, oh, they definitely got him on this, but I don't think they proved A, B, and C, and this, that, and the other, and all that. These cases are very tricky because there's 2 levels. The jury has to look at the letter of the law. We are saying these are the charges, and boom, 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 boom. Then there's also the emotional part, which you're not supposed to, bring those over. It's like, what does the evidence show? Clearly, he's going to conjure up a lot of emotions, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever, all in the between, right? The jury is seeing these videos, okay? We're also getting into it again. This is like at the beginning of this. So this came out hot. Just the indictment was jaw-dropping. Another thing that it makes me wonder about a trial like this with all these famous faces and Sean, all this, right? So it's like most everybody knows who he is the whole thing about Hollywood and, the secret stuff and the this and the that and all the little conspiracy theories that go with it. And then you have a case like this comes up that we're literally like, so was all that stuff right? You know what I mean? Like, was this correct? Like, this is literally what the internet's been talking about for years, and now it's all coming out in the P Diddy case. So I wonder with the jury, are they sitting there thinking the same thing? Because at minimum, they have to be sitting there thinking like, my God. Pretend there was nothing involved in this about coercion or racketeering or evilness. It was just hearing about the debauchery part, let's call it, right? Of we're doing freak-offs for 5 days. The jury has to be like, where you got the energy from that for that? Like, what, huh? Then you put the layer of darkness and evil and just that evil energy that seems to permeate this case. It's like you can sense it. And I feel like the jury has to sense that as well. And there's another dynamic of the trial you want me to talk about. We're going to kind of pick this up and just, I've been following the background, so we're going to talk about the parts that like really jumping out at me. We're going to get caught up with it and then keep going. But if there is a specific part, drop in the comments, let me know. While you're down in the comment section, if you could drop some little sofas off while you're down there. For Rosco in spirit, Bo and Loke, myself, and the Sofa Squad. So we all have a place to sit, hang out, talk about this case and all the other ones we do talk about here at the Sofa Squad. And until we do all that, I'll see y'all soon.
I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Rosco on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey, welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup that hey, come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.